One more time.
All right, folks, this is Wilbur, our newest conductor trainee.
Hi, I'm Wilbur. Hi. Hello.
Hi.
Oh my goodness, well, Allegra, I'm really excited about this.
I can tell. Wilbur will be riding along with us as we take you through the town that Mr. Hershey built out of cornfields and chocolate.
Which must have been very messy and awfully hard to do.
Excuse me?
Well, to build a town out of cornfields and chocolate, and sticky, yuck.
Wilbur.
Sorry,
He doesn't like to be dirty.
I'm a little nervous.
Oh, don't be nervous. I'm sure you'll do fine.
You'll
Wilbur
fail.
just finished his training this week. Did you enjoy your training?
It was
Huh?
great, yeah.
What was your favorite part?
Well, my favorite part was the singing. Do you think we could sing a song? Well, right now?
Oh, we'll get to the singing soon enough. But first, we tell our guests Mr. Hershey's story.
Ooh, I've been studying that part really hard. Do you think I could tell it?
Oh, I don't know, Wilbur. You know this is really important, right?
Oh, yeah, but you can trust me.
What do you think, folks? Should I give him a shot?
No.
Yeah? All right, Wilbur, go ahead.
Alrighty, folks. Well, Mr. Hershey was born in a house not far from here in 1857. He learned to make candy. He made lots of money, and then he died.
That's it? That's all you have to say about Milton Hershey?
Well, yeah, I pretty much thought I covered all the important parts. So now we can sing.
Hang on. Wilbur, how long were you in training anyway?
Oh, well,
1 week.
I don't exactly remember how long, but they did say I've been in training longer than any other conductor ever, so yeah, ever.
All day.
I see. Folks, why don't I tell you Mr. Hershey's story? After all, he was an inspiration to us all.
No,
For
he wasn't.
instance, did you know that Mr. Hershey was only 15 when he began as a candy-making apprentice in Lancaster? And at the young age of 19, Mr. Hershey set out on his own to create his first candy-making business in Philadelphia.
Oh yeah, well, Philadelphia, where he found his fortune. Now we can sing, right?
Oh, Wilbur. Things didn't go so well for young Milton. After 6 years of trying, the high cost of sugar caused his business to go bankrupt. His father took him to Denver, where he met a candy maker who taught him to add fresh milk to his candies to make them chewier, tastier, and longer lasting. Soon he was off to Chicago, where he tried again.
Yeah.
And failed again.
No.
And then again in New Orleans.
Wait a minute. You said sugar bills?
Apparently. But he still kept on trying. In 1884, he set up shop in New York City. And by 1886,
bankrupt.
sugar bills.
But he kept on trying. Oh my goodness, well, doesn't this guy ever give up?
No, he doesn't. He
think he
returned to
does.
Lancaster determined to try one last time. He convinced his dear Aunt Martha to mortgage her house so that he could found the Lancaster Caramel Company.
Wait, don't you mean the Lancaster Chocolate Company?
Oh, no, Wilbur. Back in those days, chocolate was not well known in the United States. I wonder what it would be like to talk to someone who knew what it was like all the way back then without chocolate.
I know you'd have to be really old
Like,
to...
really old.
Really old, yeah.
Wrinkly.
Like embarrassingly old.
Right? Hey,
Norm!
Norm, yeah.
Well, I was sitting on top.
Norm, what was it like all those years ago without any chocolate? I don't know. I'm not good with numbers. I just know facts about Milton Hershey. Rock candy, what was that like? Oh! Okay, did it taste like limes? Was that your favorite flavor? Granite was secondary. Uh-huh. I guess you didn't want to take that limestone for granted. I'm sorry. So anyway,
She's
what
really
was I talking
not.
about? Oh yes, chocolate was not well known in the United States, so many people don't know that Mr. Hershey's first success was in caramels.
Wait, what success? Well, you just said he failed 4 times.
And he almost failed in Lancaster as well. But just days before the bank was coming to foreclose on Aunt Martha's house, Mr. Hershey received a huge order for his caramels from England, of all places.
He did?
Yes, and more orders came flooding in, and soon Mr. Hershey was completely out of debt. And what Mr. Hershey came to find out was that the English were taking his caramels and coating them with something very special. Any guesses?
Cheese grits. That's what I was thinking.
You guys are insufferable. Yes, that's right, chocolate. So, Mr. Hershey made a startling announcement. He would get out of caramels entirely entire future in chocolate. He sold his now successful Lancaster Caramel Company for $1 million.
Well, the next thing you know, old Milton's millionaire. He said to himself, move away from there. He said, Dairy Church is the place I ought to be. And built a factory, chocolate that is smooth, creamy, and delicious.
Hey, Wilbur, do you have a background in theater by any chance?
Oh, not at all, no.
Alright, that's good. Well, yeah, that's fine. Alright, folks, well, if you look up here, out on your left front, you're going to be able to see some of Hershey Park. Now, Hershey Park is pretty great. There are rides and shows and a fun water park. Out there on your left, you're going to be able to see that large yellow track that, of course, is the Sky Rush, which takes guests over this 200-foot hill floating towards the creek at 75 miles per hour. Also out there on your left, that large white structure, of course, is the Comet, the oldest roller coaster here at the park. Yes, and now coming up here on your left, you're going to be able to see one of the newest additions to the park for the season, the Hershey Triple Tower. The Kisses Tower is 80 feet tall, the Reese's Tower 131 feet tall, and the Hershey's Tower is 189 feet tall.
Oh, wow. I'm going to ride them all.
That's very brave of you, Wilbur.
At the same time.
Pretty sure that's impossible.
Oh, but I can try.
Yes, you can. And now, folks, we're coming up on the center of the sweetest place on earth, Chocolate Town, USA. As you round this corner, have a look behind me, and soon you'll be able to see that famous intersection between Chocolate and Cocoa Avenue.
Oh, and coming up with the Hershey Kiss street lights, so they're my favorite.
That's right, folks. If you have a look out and up like Wilbur is, you'll be able to see those famous Hershey Kiss street lights.
Well, you know that these are the only Diet Kisses Hershey makes.
Really? Why is that?
Because they're made out of light chocolate.
There are 128 Hershey Kiss streetlights lining the length of Chocolate Avenue. As you can see, they alternate between wrapped and unwrapped.
And of course, you know what happens when one of them burns out, don't you?
What happens then?
Then you get dark chocolate. Hey, didn't see that one coming. Oh, and if a robber comes by and steals one, still not done.
What happens then?
Oh, then you get hot chocolate. Oh, but the robbers always get foiled and end up behind chocolate bars. Get it? Prison.
I get it. Are you done?
You know I got lots more.
Some other time.
Okay.
Folks, if you have a look out here on your right, you'll be able to see the community center that Mr. Hershey built for the town in 1932. Today it is home to the beautiful Broadway-style Hershey Theater. Now, the community center has been host to many community events throughout the years, but many people don't know that its fifth floor is also once our town's hospital. Many of our older residents were born right there. And folks, if you have a look out here on your left, you'll be able to see the site of Mr. Hershey's original chocolate factory.
Oh, wow. Well, you know, here's where it all began.
That's right. Construction of the world's largest chocolate factory began in 1903. And for over 100 years afterward, factory workers are producing chocolate 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. They are producing 2 million Hershey bars every day.
Wow, that's like 25 every second.
That's really good, Wilbur. Before this factory was retired a few years ago, we were producing 30 million Hershey Kisses every day. But now, in our new factory just across town, we are producing 70 million Hershey Kisses each and every day.
Unbelievable.
But it's true.
No, I mean, it's unbelievable that we still haven't done any singing yet, because singing's my favorite.
All right, Wilbur.
Well, he just was
Before we get to
singing
our
a
next
couple
stop, why don't we
minutes
sing Sentimental Journey? It's on your song sheets, folks. Feel free to join right in. You start us off, Wilbur.
But I'm gonna take a sentimental journey. Gonna set my heart at ease. Gonna take a sentimental journey to renew old memories. Got my bags, I got my reservations. Spent each dime I could afford. Like the child in wild anticipation.
Dude, I thought that water was chocolate. I thought the water was chocolate.
That's the time we leave at 7.
takes me back. Da-da-da-da. Never thought my heart could be so yearning. Why did I decide to roam? I don't know. Gonna take a sentimental journey where sentimental journey home.
That was great, folks. Give yourself some round of applause. Now we actually have a very special treat for you. We have been given exclusive permission to take you folks onto the grounds of Mr. Hershey's home, High Point Mansion. Now it's a beautiful sight, so you may want to get your cameras ready.
Wait.
Oh, Wilbur, what's wrong?
I forgot my camera.
Oh, Wilbur, we see this all the
You know
time.
what I do? I just break down the train
No,
tracks.
just
I'll
use
just
your
run
phone like
get it.
everyone else. I don't even see. Wait, no, Wilbur, you can't get over to the middle of the tour.
We got a runner.
I don't see him. No, wait, no, we can't just leave him like that, can we? Are you sure? Okay. Yeah.
Is he on the back?
Well, folks, this gives me more time to tell you more about Mr. Hershey, right? Okay, so when Mr. Hershey started out, chocolate was a European luxury item. In 1893, Mr. Hershey purchased some chocolate rolling equipment and began coating his caramels in chocolate. But by 1897, he had a more radical idea. He would start with nothing but raw determination and create a brand new chocolate recipe from scratch. He would use that secret that he had learned in Denver and add fresh milk to his chocolate to give it a unique taste. Mr. Hershey would become the first person in the world to mass-produce milk chocolate, making it so inexpensive that even a child could afford it. It took Mr. Hershey 2 years to perfect his recipe for Hershey's milk chocolate. In 1899, and the very next year, in 1900, he introduced the world to the Hershey bar. The instant popularity of his affordable milk chocolate led to his decision to stake his entire future in chocolate, which he did by building the world's largest chocolate factory. However, many people didn't agree with his decision. They would call him crazy for doing something that no one else ever had before.
Crazy, you say? Well, that's the trouble with most folks, no imagination. Oh, excuse me, my name's Henry Hershey.
Henry Hershey? Well, you're Milton Hershey's father.
Yes, ma'am, but folks around here call me Papa Hershey, and you can too.
Well, it's a real honor to be able to meet you, sir.
Oh, just call me Papa. Say, as I was out here on my walk, I noticed a fellow that looked like one of yours, dressed up like your motorman over here. Well, he was a real handsome fella. Do you happen to know him?
I mean, that must have been Wilbur, right? He's supposed to be here helping Normandy show these folks around town.
Well, gee, hold on there. What about me? I'd be proud to show these lovely folks around the town that my son built. Why, looky right up here. Well, that's the house he built for his old white kitty, they call it High Point Mansion. He built it right here so he could live right next to the factory and walk to work every day. He didn't want to waste any time, you know.
How about that?
And if you look down here to your left in the hollow, that little school is where Milton went to second grade.
His teacher was one of your brothers, right?
His Uncle Elias, yes, so he was Milton's favorite uncle. I tell you, when Milton wasn't schooling, he was working while that boy was always on the go.
It sure seems like it.
Yes, well, I mean, just look at this town, only 3 years old, and look how it's grown already. Why, I can remember when all of this was just cornfields and cows. So, yes, lots of cows, and the chocolate factory sure has improved
Yes,
the
cows.
flavors of this town. And the factory sure keeps the cows busy. You know, it takes 50,000 cows to produce enough milk for 1 day of chocolate making here. Yes, 50,000. Oh, yes, sir. That's why he built it right here in dairy country, so he could be close to the source, if you know what I mean.
But a lot of people told him he ought to have his head examined.
Oh, now don't get me started. You know, they used to call me crazy, too, whenever I show them one of my new inventions. Well, of course, that's because none of my inventions ever seem to work quite right. Oh, same with my adventures. I almost had it with silver mining in Denver. Oh, it's too bad that didn't pan out. Get it, pan out. Where was I?
Talking about the town, the house, your son, Kitty.
All in 6, yes indeed. Best thing my boy ever did was to marry Kitty. Oh, she's a smart